Hi, history paper writers. Okay, here we are. We're a couple of weeks in, a few weeks into the class. I know that writing a history paper can be stressful. If you've never written a 5-page paper before, it can seem overwhelming. That's why I break it down in sections so that you don't, if you start at the beginning and say, oh, I have to do all of this research and I have to write this thesis and an outline and write 5 pages and a works cited page, it can feel overwhelming. So, what I want to encourage you to do is break it down in sections. Just work it on one section at a time. Okay? So, first, I'm going to do a quick review. Let me share my screen about thesis, writing thesis statement. Get my screen share here. Okay, here we go. Here are some sample topics that people can write long papers on: high school sports, online education, history of aviation, Leonardo da Vinci. These are different classes. All of these are not necessarily history. But let me give you an example. Let's say that we picked, the very first thing that you do is choose your topic. Hopefully, all of you have turned in your topic and had it approved by me by now and are well into your research. Once you have your topic. For example, let's say we're talking about the benefits of high school sports. Then all you do is pick 3 directions that you want to talk in. Teaches teamwork, teaches athletes to be disciplined, builds healthy routines for life. If you're talking about the history of aviation, you could pick 3 time periods that you're going to discuss and the changes in aviation during that time period. You can discuss 3 people that were critical to aviation. You can discuss 3 types of aircraft, maybe. So this is how then you take these 3 thoughts and you turn them into your thesis. You just put those 3 thoughts together. High school sports can benefit athletes by teaching them to work together as a team, to be disciplined, and to develop healthy and eating and training habits that will benefit them throughout their lives. So you're taking these 3 thoughts and you're putting them together in one sentence. That is all a thesis is. That is truly all. In your thesis, you don't want to say, this paper we'll discuss. We don't want to mention our own paper in our paper. We don't want to mention ourselves. This should be third person. You don't want to say, I am going to prove that, or I believe that. Not in a research paper. There are different types of papers that's appropriate for: personal reflection papers, things like that. But this is a research term paper. You don't want to ask a question, and you don't want to leave your reader asking how, why, who, what, any of those questions. You're going to answer all of that. So that's just a good reminder. Hopefully, your thesis statements have all been turned in, but if not, that's a reminder if you're struggling with it. Here, I'm going to share my whiteboard now. We're going to talk about writing the introductory paragraph. Hopefully, you can see my whiteboard. I am going to draw. Oh, let's pick a different color. It'll show up better for this. I am going to draw an upside down triangle. Why, you say? This helps understand what's supposed to be an introductory paragraph. Let's say that you're going to talk about the history of aviation. This broad part of the upside down triangle talks about the past. It's a broad statement that reads almost like a kid's encyclopedia about transportation. So, for example, let's see, let's erase that. Let's get my eraser. I'm going to type this because by the time I write the word transportation, it's going to be a mess. I've got it spelled correctly. Look. Okay, so this is going to be the broad part, is going to be the history of transportation. Okay? You're going to talk about anything that you want to talk about. then you're going to move into first ideas of aviation. So we have transportation, first ideas of aviation. We're leading up to, we're giving general. You're assuming that your person doesn't know anything. I know I'm kind of rambling here a little bit. You're assuming that your reader doesn't know anything about your topic. So you want to start very general. This wide part of the upside down triangle talks about how do people used to get around before airplanes? How hard was it to get across oceans, across countries? Talk about some of the first long distance transportation. I'll put long distance here. And I'm just giving you some ideas that you can go in. Then you start moving into the first ideas of aviation. The upside down triangle is narrowing. Here, we're going to start talking about aviation in general. Okay, we're going to talk about just very general how the first ideas. Did you know that Leonardo da Vinci actually sketched some ideas for aviation way before we had any of the technology? So you start very broad. The upside down triangle start very broad. Give us encyclopedia type information that you're not going to use anywhere else in your paper, okay? Then you start moving into aviation. Then this last sentence, the tip of the upside down triangle. My words are not here with me today. Let's try this. This is your thesis statement. See, I can't even type today. Oh my goodness, it's a Monday. I'm recording this on a Monday. Can you tell? So that's the upside down triangle. You start very general. Don't mention anything specific yet. That's save all of that for your paper, okay? So start very general, like a kid's encyclopedia article about what you're writing about. How do people used to get around before airplanes? Why then moving into why aviation was considered, how flight, people watching birds, people considering wanting to get across oceans, across countries faster. What if I could fly? So talk about some of the first successes and failures. Then you're moving specifically into this is what I'm talking about. Your thesis statement is your last sentence of your introductory paragraph, okay? Please, please, please ask me questions. I know that when we're not in a live class, sometimes you're like, well, what? So watch this a couple of times, skip through my ramblings a little bit, but this is your introductory paragraph. Okay? I'm going to stop sharing that. I hope it makes sense. Please put questions in the classroom. I'm willing to walk you through anything that you're stuck on. Don't get stuck and just give up. This is a good time to learn how to write a paper and get help with it. Okay? So you got this. I know it's not fun. Okay, writing a long 5-page paper is not necessarily fun, but you've got this. Okay?